so this one is, it came out of nowhere, good anime you haven't seen. So, unlike the last one, this is going to be stuff we actually want you to watch. So, let's get started right away with one I really found I liked. Project Blue Earth S.O.S, which came out recently, but really hasn't gotten a lot of publicity. Anyone here actually seen it? You got like 2 or 3, so that's good. Alright, so let's start off right away here. This is basically an homage to 50s sci-fi anime, which I think is really cool. It's got everything that sci-fi anime has that's good. It's got crazy aliens that show up out of nowhere. It's got science being done by humanity to save the day. And of course has the last hope of some kind of awesome underwater base. And so who's going to be the guy to help us save the Earth? We've got the rich kid scientist who's going to be doing a lot, kid scientist of course. We've got the poor kid who pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, who's also a genius scientist. We've got the military guy who's going to be piloting our planes and figuring stuff out, and Dr. Bress, the scientist who will lead the effort. Now, the show has some really cool art. So we've got this 1950s feel, but it's sort of like there was this alternate technology developed, this really powerful engine that gives us a lot of stuff. So it's like an alternate feel for the 50s. And it's really pretty cool looking. It's like this, like a futuristic Art Deco look, which I really like, honestly. Like the skylines look really nice, the train stations look way better than ours, that sort of thing. The interiors of buildings look great. I mean, especially if you're rich like this kid. You know, the command center has like these marble-looking floors, these really classy backgrounds, and even the detail work in the show looks great. So there's a lot of really nice stuff here. The 50s vibe is pretty much everywhere in the show. They really captured it well. And what helps a lot is the announcer, who gives this awesome like radio drama feel to the whole show. You know, declaration of war, the Invincible's crew, the silver-haired mystery man. And he keeps the thing at a fever pitch, a crucible of excitement. I mean, I want to watch the shows with stuff like that. And when you pull out phrases like an extra special grandiose sci-fi adventure that many will imitate, but none will be able to duplicate, you know I'm hooked. So what kind of stuff do we have being thrown to humanity in this show? Well, we got everything from, you know, enormous spaceships, those classic 50s looking ring beam weapons. They got enormous mobile islands they've been hiding on the Earth, killer robots, bigger, more awful killer robots that look like, you know, tripods and so on. The ability to make the Earth stand still by shutting off all the engines. And a lot of more devious stuff, like human cloning to infiltrate, you know, various high-level officials, weather control, mind control of various people, even like agent saboteurs they've got on the Earth. It really seems like Earth never catches a break, and of course if they fail even once, the aliens are pretty much going to take over. So what are we going to do to stop that? Well, we've got science. Yes! And I mean, everything from spaceships and all that kind of cool stuff to these two. I mean, the rivalry between the two scientist characters, the kid scientists here, really helps a lot. I mean, they're always pushing each other to do better, you know. I came up with the thing that helps detect the aliens. Well, I'm going to make it better. I want to make it better again. So the two of them really drive forward the effort. And they spend a lot of time researching what's going on in the show, talking to people, looking at books, doing experiments. It's not just action all the time, which I kind of like. And, of course, they'll have a secret defense network to help them out in doing this. The two kids are not the only ones trying to defend Earth. The bases all over the place. It's the kind of show where everyone in humanity has to band together to fight off the aliens. It makes you feel kind of good to be human. Like, even the military aren't a bunch of jerks in this show. Everyone really pulls together to fight those aliens, which is rare in a show like this. And they have to come up with a lot of clever tactics. Well, we can't see them because they're invisible, so we'll use smoke screens. And this being anime, we're going to have a drill tank. Because, you know, you gotta have drills. But honestly, there's a lot of just plain grit that gets shown here. I mean, in the end, it's not going to be its inventions that save humanity. It'll be humanity itself. That kind of stuff. So with a pitch like that, why don't we look at one of the episodes of the show. I'll give you a brief synopsis. The show consists of hour-long episodes, of which there are 6. So here's the first one. What happens in it? Alright, we've got our cool engines, and they're starting to disappear from everywhere. Suddenly, a submarine appears in the middle of the desert. Our two scientist characters are immediately interested and run in, only to receive a dire prophecy warning from some kind of alien hologram. Oh, that's pretty bad. So they start investigating, and this military guy thinks that aliens are up, there might be aliens, and they're up to something, stealing all of our technology. So, alright, the scientist characters are going to investigate themselves, because, you know, they want to do that. They figure some stuff out, find some weird, you know, radio frequencies they can use, and put their plan into action. But they kind of get overpowered, they get into trouble, and out of nowhere swoops the guys from a secret organization that no one knows exists yet to save them. Well, they go away pretty quickly. They don't talk to the main characters, so they're investigating. Where did that weird fighter come from? And once again, this guy has his suspicions about what's going on. Fortunately, being a rich kid, he needs to have a lot of connections. So he digs out some ancient footage of like these experiments going on and kind of figures out what's going on. Meanwhile, the aliens have already started their plot, setting their saboteurs down and eventually just attacking full scale with their giant warship. Now fortunately, that secret organization is ready. They send out their awesome plane, they blow up a lot of the aliens, and they reveal their awesome underwater city, which rises to the surface and says, this, Metropolitan X, is the new capital of the world, and we're going to take the fight to the aliens. So with all this kind of stuff going on just in the first episode alone, you are really in for a treat with this show, which has a lot of cool stuff, especially if you're into 50s sci-fi. So join our defense against the aliens. We have the power of science.
I'm not going to yell as much this time, I promise. Alright, so my show is Valkyria Chronicles for our next one. Guys, this show is a lot of fun. It gives you this like soft war drama, but it really just had a handful of good surprises in it that made me really happy. So we start off by getting this sort of legend about how this greedy guy took over the world and everything, and he was defeated by a brave warrior, and we come to the understanding that that greedy person is Darkson, and our brave warrior is Valkyria. And this is important, you gotta pay attention to this because it sets the mood and it sets a lot of the culture of where we are. So the show kind of kicks it off really fast. We're at war and we're in this tiny town of Brule and everybody's being evacuated because the Imperial Army is coming. So we meet our main character Alicia at this point. Alicia is really a character like I could get behind because she's not sitting around whining and doing all this other stuff normal main female characters do. She's like taking it up a level. She's like, alright, I'm here to defend my town. And she's a great main character to sort of start off with. We also meet some other really great characters like Welkin, who he's the son of a famous hero, but he's really not into that. He'd rather be a student, like he's a biology student, and he's really more into the learning than he is into the fighting. But he's a great character anyway. So like I said, we're moving fast. Like the Imperial Army is here, and Welkin's like, man, I gotta go like rescue my sister. Come with me, let's go. And it turns out they meet his sister, and his sister's like the best. Like Isara's adorable, and she's like, yeah, I'm awesome. But the thing is, even though she's awesome when you meet her, Alicia's like, whoa, she can't be your sister, she's a Darkson. And already we get the understanding that the Darkson are kind of this ethnic group that's looked down upon. So that, remember, our legend was in the beginning, so that kind of sets the stage, and sets an understanding for how these people are treated. Now Isara, remember, is awesome. She's just like, bam, I'm gonna grab this gun and shoot this guy and then pilot this tank. And I'm like, yeah, now this is rocking. Like, let's go. And even after she saves the town of Brule, people still aren't really okay with that. They're like, our town just got saved by a Darkson, really? So really, like, we're getting to understand that these people are like the lower class citizens who really looked down upon. So it turns out that we, have to get serious about the war here because the army's not going to back down. So Welkin gets scripted out of school and he becomes the leader of Squad 7. Alicia gets chosen as his trusted subordinate, second in command, and that goes about as well as you'd expect. He's like, what? So Welkin is now our leader of Squad 7, and Squad 7 is who we're going to be following for the rest of the show. And here they are, the brave, the proud, the few of the militia on Squad 7. So we got a handful of really cool characters. Now I want you to get the understanding ahead of time that this is not your super gritty war drama. Like when we first meet Welkin, Alicia's like, I'm going to arrest you. What on earth are you doing here? Like a battle's going on. He's like, I'm sketching 7 by the river. And you're like, because that makes sense, right? And like Susie appears, and Susie's like, I pretty much faint and cry a lot. And you're like, okay, well we need one of you on the team, don't we? And these guys are like 6. Every anime's gotta have people that are 6, and like, this is our mascot. It's a piggy with wings! So I got excited. Anyway, even from the get-go, the show's got, some realism to it. Like, the squad is not completely cohesive from the start. This guy Largo is like, are you kidding me? I'm not taking orders from some jerk from the university. Like, he doesn't have any combat experience. I'm not down with this. Rosie, who works with him, is just like, yeah, I don't like this guy either. So there's a lot of, discourse going on, and that's pretty cool to me. Now, the show really throws some characters at us that you're just stunned.